Hello, Standard 7. We have started with the chapter that is Jahangir, Shah Jahan, Aurangzeb, and later Mughal. Okay, now we completed about Jahangir. Today we'll be doing about Shah Jahan. Okay, now here Jahangir was succeeded by his third son, Prince Khurram. Khurram was the original name of Shah Jahan, and he ascended the throne after defeating his brothers in the war of succession. Means after defeating his brothers, he became the successor of Jahangir. And after becoming the successor, he took the title Shah Jahan, which means the ruler of the world. Okay, so we will not do conquest, we will directly start with the European traders, as it was told to you that the English traders started coming during the time of Jahangir. Now, the Portuguese were before only trading in India. So here, on finding that Portuguese whom Akbar and Jahangir had allowed to build a factory at Hooghly. So here, factory at Hooghly was allowed by Akbar and Jahangir. To whom? To the Portuguese. Portuguese were allowed to build factory at Hooghly. So here the Portuguese started misusing their trading privileges. Okay. Who allowed them to have a factory at Hooghly? It was Akbar and Jahangir. During Shah Jahan found that Portuguese started misusing their trading privileges by not paying custom duties and forcing conversions. Okay, how they were misusing their trading privileges? By not paying custom duties and forcing conversions. Okay, so Shah Jahan captured this Portuguese factory and forced them to trade on his terms, and he also kept a close watch on other trading posts set up by the European traders in different parts of India. Now, if you have to speak about Shah Jahan's Rajput policy, okay, the same policy what was adopted by Akbar, then his successor Jahangir, same policy you'll be learning. Same policy was also adopted by Shah Jahan towards Rajputs. So Shah Jahan spent his last days in trouble. He fell seriously ill in 1657 AD and he was imprisoned of the rooms of Agra fort by his son Aurangzeb, who won the war of succession and which broke among his four sons. Now, four sons, who were the four sons of Shah Jahan? Dara, Suja, Murad, and Aurangzeb. Finally, Shah Jahan died in 1665 AD and he was buried by the side of his beloved wife Mumtaz Mahal in Taj Mahal. Okay. The next we have Aurangzeb. He was the last great Mughals. He took the title Alamgir, which means conqueror of the world. He ruled for about 49 years over the Mughal Empire, which was almost the same time duration for which Akbar ruled. Aurangzeb was an orthodox Muslim. So politically he proved to be a short-sighted man. He gave up the religious tolerant policy. Now, Akbar was religious tolerant, equal secular ruler. The same Shah Jahan also, Jahangir also, but he was not a tolerant ruler. As well as friendly towards policy which was adopted by Akbar, he gave up all these policies. He reintroduced Jizya. You remember that I taught to you about Jizya and pilgrim tax. So here, Jizya tax was again reintroduced by Aurangzeb against non-Muslims, and that was one reason that he became unpopular among the common people, and this led to many revolts. In the first half of his reign, Aurangzeb stayed and ruled from North India, that is 1658 AD and 1680 AD. While during the latter half, he lived in Deccan region from 1681 AD to 1707 AD. Okay. Now we'll do revolts. Who revolted? Now, as I taught to you that he reintroduced jizya, okay, against non-Muslim, many people they revolted against him. You see here, apart from reintroduction of the jizya tax against non-Muslim, Akbar increased the land tax in the northern part. जजिया तो impose किया, land tax also increased in the northern India from one third to one half of the produce. So this resulted many revolts in North India. And who revolted? Jats of Agra and Mathura region, Satnamis, Bundelas, Rajputs, Sikhs, and Marathas. All these powerful tribes they revolted against Aurangzeb because he increased the land tax in the northern India from one third to one half of the produce. Okay. Next, you have Aurangzeb became highly unpopular among common people due to these taxes. Most of his time, energy, and resources were spent in crushing their revolt and led to gradual decline of Mughal empire. Okay, most of his time he spent money, time, crushing these revolts. Okay, so finally what happened? The Mughal Empire declined. It became weak. So in 1669 AD, Jats were the first to revolt against under the leader of Gokul Jat. And in 1672 AD, religious sect known as Satnamis revolted near Narnaul. Satnamis believed in one god and opposed distinctions. Okay, now if you have to speak about Rajput policy, he was not so friendly with the. In the beginning, he may be friendly, but then later he was not so friendly with the Rajputs. Deccan policy in the latter half of his region, sorry, in the latter half of his reign, Aurangzeb lived in Deccan region. Between when to when? 1686 AD to 1687 AD, and he annexed the region of Bijapur and Golconda. But as these regions were too far from his capital, it was difficult to administer them. Okay, and the same place you see Aurangzeb failed to crush the rising power of the Marathas. Okay, many of whom held important position in the kingdom of Ahmednagar, Bijapur, and Golconda. Okay, Marathas were chieftains who belonged to the hilly region surrounding Pune and Konkan. With the passage of time, they began to defy Deccan kingdom and they attacked their enemies by using guerrilla war technique. A technique through which they organized themselves in a small groups and launched a sudden attack on their enemies from behind the hill. And they won many battles using this technique against regional kingdoms as well as against the Mughals. Now the next we have religious policy of Aurangzeb. What type of ruler he was? Orthodox and God fearing. And he was popularly called Zinda Pir. Okay, what type of ruler? Orthodox and God fearing, and he was popularly called Zinda Pir or a living saint due to his simple lifestyle. Why he was called Zinda Pir? Because he lived a simple lifestyle. Now, what type of simple lifestyle we are talking about? He never wore costly robes. Like other Mughal rulers, they wore gold, silver, costly clothes. They used gold and silver vessels. But he lived a very simple life. And you see, he was so sincere that for his own needs, he earned money by sewing caps and copying the Holy Quran, which was sold in the market. Okay, now he wanted to establish a pure Islamic empire. So, in order to establish a pure Islamic empire, he prohibited the consumption of alcohol and opium and gambling. That was prohibited. He even banned music and dance performances in the Mughal court. Okay, so this was mainly to establish the pure Islamic empire. This you have to remember what was done by Aurangzeb to establish a pure Islamic empire. So, we completed Shah Jahan, where you studied about Shah Jahan and how he controlled the European traders. Then you studied about Aurangzeb, revolts, who revolted and why they revolted. Then you studied about Deccan policy of Aurangzeb and religious policy of Aurangzeb. So please learn. Thank you.